Commandos Burn, Smith, Beans, and Iron are a special forces team who have seen more than their fair share of action. Neo City is their post, now that a terrorist group known as DNME is bombarding its citizens with a typhoon of a crime wave. The C-Force has been asked to stop them, no matter what. Take command solo or team up with a comrade in 2-player mode. Even if you go it alone, you can call on a backup soldier for spot support. Tap into your Special Forces training to devise unique battle plans and attack patterns. Select weapons and decide which soldier's individual strengths are best suited for the dirty deeds going down. You can switch commandos whenever the situation calls for it. Endure all 5 grueling missions, swarming with traps and terrorists, that take place in a warehouse, on a battleship, at a construction site, aboard a helicopter, and at C-Force headquarters. Encounter secret passageways, hidden rooms, aerial angle views, and more. Every man is a walking arsenal with heavy-duty weaponry including rocket launchers, flamethrowers, bazookas, rifles, landmines, and time bombs. This mission is no cakewalk. But if it was, they wouldn't have given it to you. Hit it with all you've got. This is Contra Force from Konami, released in 1992, also known in Japan as Archound. It's kind of different for a Contra game, but let's talk a little bit about this a little later. Run and gun style shoot 'em up, released in 92. It's a spin-off of the Contra series and the 3rd game in the series released for the NES following the home versions of Contra and Super C. In contrast to previous Contra titles, which featured sci-fi elements, Contra Force centers around a modern task force who must fight human terrorists instead. The game was originally scheduled to be released as an unrelated game in Japan titled Archound. The Japanese version was cancelled, and instead Konami localized the game for a North American release as a Contra spin-off. We begin with the player being asked to choose between one of 4 characters. In addition to Burns, the team's leader, we can also choose between Iron, a heavy weapons expert, Smith, a sharpshooter, and Beans, a demolition expert. Each character differ from each other, not just in what weapons they wield, but also their speed and jumping ability. The game consists of 5 stages. The odd-numbered stages, 1, 3, and 5, are played from the standard side view, while the even-numbered stages are played from an overhead perspective, similar to the ones in Super Contra and Operation C. The objective is as simple as getting to the end of each stage, fighting every enemy who gets in the way, before confronting the boss awaiting at the end. Controls are very similar to previous Contra games. The side view stages we can walk left to right, as well as crouch and jump, whereas top view stages we can move in 8 directions, but cannot jump or crouch. Shooting is possible in any of the 8 directions, depending on the context. Instead of instant power-ups from the previous Contra game, we have a power selection meter similar to the Gradius series, which shows what power-ups we can obtain. We must pick up a briefcase-shaped power-up, which are hidden within destroyable environment of each stage, to move the cursor on the indicator by 1 increment. When the cursor is on the power-up the player wants to obtain, we can confirm their selection with the select button. The items on the indicator include a standard issue pistol for every character, 2 character-specific weapons, a turbo fire power-up that increases the number of bullets on screen, and a rolling attack that keeps the character invulnerable to enemy fire while in mid-air. We get a screw attack. We can pause the game and go to a sub-menu where we can change our current character. Did not know this when I was recording footage. At the sub-menu, we can assign another character to a second player or call forth a computer-controlled partner. We can assign from one of 6 possible strategies to the partner, ranging between defensive and offensive. The partner character will then appear for 5 seconds to assist the player before disappearing. When the partner is gone, the player can summon him again from the sub-menu. Each character has only 3 lives. If a single player loses all of their lives as one character, the game will end. We can use the sub-menu to switch to another character that still has extra lives before that happens, however. In the 2-player mode, if one player loses all of their lives, they can be assigned to another character, but the character that lost all of their lives will become unusable. Unlimited chances to continue are provided. Set in the fictional metropolis of Neo City in 1992, Contra Force centers around a group of Special Forces operatives led by a man named Burns, whose name is Mr. Burns, who are tasked to put down the crime syndicate known as DNME. Burns receives a phone call from Fox, an informant telling him that the head of intelligence is being threatened. Burns arranges a meeting with his informant to learn more about the situation. However, when Burns arrives at the harbor to meet with Fox, he finds out that Fox has been murdered and is suddenly attacked by DNME. Now it is up to Burns and his squad to clear Neo City of the terrorists. As we spoke about, this was originally announced for a Japanese release under the title of Arkhound, with no ties to the Contra series. Arkhound was promoted in a brochure that was included in the family computer game Crisis Force and covered in Japanese game magazines, but it was never released. The game's protagonists were identified in these previews as the Independent Public Order Task Force Untouchable, or the IPOTFU. The American release of Contra Force was first announced in '91. It was planned to be the third console installment of the series, which is why the working title of Contra 3, The Alien Wars, ended up being Super Contra 4. Contra Force has received mixed reception. All-game editor Brett Allen Weiss criticized the slowdown and flicker that the game suffers from, but praised the added strategy of being able to select from different characters, each with their own unique skills and weapons. The video game critic described Contra Force as a catastrophe. He described the controls as sluggish and described the background as poorly designed and confusing. Although Contra Force was not originally planned as a Contra game, it has been referenced in other games in the series. The name of the first stage in Contra 3 Alien Wars, originally known as the Occupied City, in the Japanese version, Contra Spirits, is listed as the Streets of Neo City in the instruction manual of the North American version. Neo City is also mentioned by name as the sound test title of the Stage 7 theme in the American-developed Contra 4. The player select theme from Contra Force was also used in Contra Rebirth. Not a big Contra fan, and this is not a great game to jump into the Contra series with, though I have played a bunch of the other Contra games. It's unique, it's different, it's average.